Hello and welcome to Galaxy TV's Primetime News. My name is Iribami Salako. We begin with headlines. House of Representatives summoned committee of the Summer Minister of Women Affairs to explain the alleged diversion of approximately 1.5 billion naira. Plus on the news, Minister of Education meets with leadership of Sano and Nasu over unpaid salaries of members of the union. Sir Keir Starmer promises to build a government of service after becoming the first UK Labour Prime Minister since 2010. Details of those and more coming your way shortly. Do stay with us. Many thanks for joining us at this time. Now details of the news. Vice President Kashim Shettima has called for a significant shift from dependence on oil to other critical sectors with attractive investment returns in Nigeria. He identified agriculture, manufacturing, renewable energy and digital innovation, among other sectors, as potential investment ground to explore. Correspondent Inabuchi Okenabuchi sent in this report.
Speaking during the existing Foreign Direct Investors Roundtable, Vice President Kashim Shettima noted that the 8-point agenda of the renewed hope administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu signals diverse avenues for investment from agriculture to renewable energy. Senator Shettima assured the investors and other development partners of a business environment that is characterized by transparency, accountability and regulatory certainty, even as he deployed them to recognize the indispensable role of public-private partnership in mobilizing resources, sharing expertise and mitigating investment risk. The VP observed that with the non-oil sector contributing 93.62% to Nigeria's GDP in the first quarter of 2024, it is imperative to explore all the critical sectors of the nation's economy.
The life of every economy is defined by the volume of investments it accommodates and attracts. Investments are the lifeblood that fuel innovation, drive growth and create opportunities for prosperity. Today, as we gather for this roundtable with our esteemed foreign direct investors, we celebrate not just the capital that flows into our nation, but the confidence, trust, and partnerships that these investments represent. Nigeria has not only been a place of promise, but also consistently an incubator of ideas. This inherent potential must be harnessed by utilizing our abundant resources and strategic position as a gateway to Africa's largest consumer market of 230 million people and projected to be the third most populous nation on earth by 2050.
VP Shettima further said the Tinubu administration adopted some mechanism for the ease of doing business, which according to him stimulate investment across critical sectors and strengthen the capacity of public institutions, ensuring that industry stakeholders are never undermined. Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Senator Ibrahim Hadija, commended the development partners, foreign investors and other stakeholders for participating in the meeting. Senator Hadija outlined some of the efforts made by the administration of President Tinubu to boost the investment climate in Nigeria. In her remarks, the technical advisor to the President, Foreign Direct Investment, Princess Zahra Mustafa Audu, presented a summary report of a survey conducted to aggregate views about foreign investment in Nigeria, noting that the outcome of the exercise would be critical to the effort by the Tinubu administration to boost the investment environment in the country.
That the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration is having with the organized private sector to cross-pollinate ideas and identify pain points and bottlenecks that will hamper the resolve of the government to drive the economy and create prosperity for its citizens, utilizing a partnership with the private sector. In this same hall, we held the first of its kind 3-day manufacturers summit from the 2nd to the 4th of July. an event that was another collaboration of government and the private sector through the Office of the Vice President with the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria.
Avatar had come to see President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in June, and after that meeting, initially I think they are currently in Nasarawa State. When we approached them for this roundtable meeting, we explained to them that we're happy they are in Nigeria, but we're hoping that they scale up investment. Many of our investors are located in one state. Luckily for us, they are even in the North Central, but majority of our investors in this room are located in Lagos. Once again, thanks for traveling down. But we are trying to encourage you to scale up. Nigeria is so much bigger than just being invested in Lagos. And this is why we want to have conversations like this.
And still matters from the Red Chambers, the Senatori's Committee on Solid Minerals declared that Nigeria is missing out on the $110 billion bitumen global market. This is as the various stakeholders in the solid minerals sector threw their weight behind the establishment of Bitumen Development Commission. Correspondent Kulojo sent in the story.
The need for Nigeria to tap into the $110 billion global bitumen market came to the fore during the public hearing on a bill seeking an act on establishment of Bitumen Development Commission, organized by the Senate Committee on Solid Minerals, chaired by Senator Samson Ekong. In a submission at the public hearing, the sponsor of the bill, Senator Jimo Ibrahim, lamented that Nigeria, which has the highest deposit of bitumen after Canada and Venezuela, has not tapped into the $110 billion global bitumen market due to lack of required galvanization. The $110 billion bitumen global market, according to him, is currently being controlled by 9 countries in the world, some of which have less quantities of the natural resources when compared to Nigeria. He specifically stated that Ondo State has the highest deposit of bitumen in Africa, with an estimated value of $42 billion.
Mr. Chairman, is significant because, number one, Nigeria has the second largest bitumen deposit in the world after Canada. So how can we not participate in the market where we have the second largest deposit of bitumen in the world? That's the first one. Second point is that Nigeria has a total of 300,000 kilometer road network. Only 30,000 of those 300,000 road network have been affected and died. Now we have 270,000 deficit, Mr. Chairman, of road network that need to be affected by bitumen. And the sad part of it is that Nigeria imports bitumen.
The chairman of the committee, Senator Ekong, said Nigeria needs a legal inroad to develop a mineral industry to expand our earning power and contribute greatly to the nation's gross domestic product and provide ample job opportunities.
Provide a legal framework backed by data that will drive inroads into the vast potentials of this country. The Bitumen Commission, from its framework, offers a major launch pad towards harnessing the vast bitumen deposit in Nigeria. This would in turn put an end to bitumen importation, will promote local content, drive economic growth, create jobs, increase our GDP, and better the lives of communities and citizens.
He commended the sponsor of the bill for his passion in development of the solid mineral sector and bringing to the limelight the vast deposit of bitumen in Ondo State and other states like Edo, Ogun, Akwa Ibom, and Lagos states. From the Nigerian Senate, Kunle Ojo, Galaxy TV.
The House of Representatives has called for an increase in the budgetary allocation to the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities for better performance. The Chairman of the Committee on Disability Matters, Honorable Bashir Daudu, made the disclosure during an oversight function to the Commission in Abuja. Correspondent Kulojo has details. Alright, moving on to other stories. The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, on Friday met with leadership of the Senior Staff Association of Universities and their counterpart from the Non-Academic Staff Union over the unpaid salaries of members of the union. Correspondent Kolojo has more.
The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Mamman, accompanied by Honorable Minister of State Dr. Yusuf Tanko Sununu, Permanent Secretary D.D. Esther Wilson-Jack, and directors engaged in the fruitful discussions with the leadership of the Senior Staff Association of Universities and their counterpart from the Non-Academic Staff Union over the unpaid salaries of members of the unions. The minister acknowledged the concerns by the unions and assured them that withheld salaries have been forwarded to the highest level of government for attention, therefore appealed for restraint on the planned strike.
So from us, we invited the leaderships of NASU and SANU to discuss some of the issues they have concern over, some of which also are of concern to us in the ministry, for us to discuss and find solutions to then discuss and find a way around some of these issues. And we do have, as I said, this periodic meeting with the various associations and unions on the campus.
He also announced the constitution of an advisory committee to address all the issues. While the union leaders expressed disappointment about the delayed tactic being adopted by the federal government, they appreciated the minister's gesture for the meeting.
I would not blame them because we have been relegated to the background. The government is taking our patients for granted. We are not toothless bulldog, we can bite. But when you came on board, we promised you, and we decided to go by that. After the warning strike, you called us, and we told you after the warning strike, we'll wait. We have waited up to now, nothing is done. So we want to register that we are not happy.
So it is our prayer, we came here prayerful, hopeful, and also positive. We have not come here with any predetermined position, but we have come here with the hope that we are meeting our principles, and we hope to live here on a good note to make the faces of our members also shine brighter. As it stands now, all the faces are gloomy. Everywhere is stormy.
They expressed optimism that the interface will end on a peaceful note.
Now to other matters, the National Universities Commission (NUC) has emphasized the importance of good governance, accountability, transparency, and innovative strategies for sustainable university growth in the country's tertiary institution. Correspondent Kolojo sent in this report.
The Executive Secretary of the Commission, Chris Miyaki, during a retreat for chairmen and members of the Governing Council of Tertiary Institutions in Abuja, emphasized the importance of good governance, accountability, transparency, and innovative strategies for sustainable university growth in the country's tertiary institutions. The NUC boss noted that to achieve this, the Commission has decided to provide guidelines for university ceremonies and enthrone good governance, values, principles, and standards in higher education institutions. Miyaki expressed concern over the decline in the quality and conduct of university ceremonies and special lectures. He noted that ceremonies like matriculation, convocation, and inaugural lecture have lost their prestige due to poor organization. Miyaki urged council members to demonstrate leadership and stewardship, ensuring the reputational capital of universities is protected.
Diligently and have left their marks in the sands of time. I'm confident that the resource persons will have the capacity to drive the key areas and the key issues and learning objectives that will keep us fully engaged during the retreat. I encourage you all to participate actively so as to derive maximum benefits from this unique experience. And I want to say that we at NUC will continue to set our sights on very high ideals and reposition ourselves for the effective governance and development of Nigerian universities.
I want to just quickly show you a few other documents that are important. We have what we call the TED Fund Intervention Guidelines. This spells out the modalities for accessing, for implementation, and for managing all the intervention lines that we've been able to come up with. And from time to time, these guidelines are issued by the Board of Trustees of the fund. We have regular interactions with all our beneficiary institutions. Currently, TED Fund has about 273 of those institutions. Our interventions currently are focused on public, that is institutions owned by the federal government and state governments.
You're still on to the primetime news on Galaxy Television. Coming up next. Lagos State Command of Nigeria Police exterminates 9-man armed gang who have been terrorizing Lagos and its environs. Details of that are not coming up to the break. Do stay with us. We are glad to have you back. Now, for more updates and latest news, please visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Connect with us on our X handle at Galaxy TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV News. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Remember to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. The Ogun II Area Command of the Nigeria Customs Service Ogun State says it generated 12.8 billion naira in revenue for the first half of 2024 from January to June. Customs Area Controller V.C. Alade made this known at a press briefing held in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. Correspondent John Felix now report.
The Customs Area Controller says the command's revenue collection improved significantly in the last 3 months, with 3.4 billion collected in April, revenue generation to the diligence and professionalism of its officers.
Permit me at this junction to report that the command generated the sum of 12 billion 830 million 493,630 naira 6 kobo as revenue for the period under review. This can be compared to 8 billion 505 million 38,818 naira 30 kobo generated in the corresponding period of last year, 2023. This is therefore a differential of 4 billion 326 million 454 naira 454,800 naira 76 kobo, which is a significant improvement by 51%.
Controller further vows to continue to put in place necessary measures to improve revenue collection, engage the local and trader communities, and enforce compliance with government fiscal policies.
Continued deployment of intelligence and reconnaissance by our monitoring units, which led to the discovery of some factories which we have now put under SR control. 11 factories and one bonded terminal were discovered by the command under the months of my assumption of office as Customs Area Controller of Ogun Command. At this point, I must comment.
John Felix reporting for Galaxy Television.
By exterminating 9-man armed gang who have been terrorizing Lagos and its environs. This feat was achieved by the Special Squad 1 team while in patrol around Ajao, Okota, Isolo and Ladipo axis of the state. During the gun duel with officers of Special Squad 1, the armed gang suspected to be the mastermind of most kidnap cases in and around Lagos in recent times. The Daredevil gang were gunned down while 2 of the gang members escaped with bullet wounds.
Upon receipt of this intelligence about 2 weeks ago, CP Fayade directed the command's tactical teams to commence work on it. They followed up closely, monitored dutifully, and were able to determine that the gang was going to strike yesterday in Ladipo area of Lagos State. With the benefit of this information, we were able to proactively prepare for them and more or less laid an ambush for them.
Among items recovered from the gang are 5 AK-47 rifles, 2 SUV jeeps, POS machine, walkie-talkie around the state in recent times.
Available. We urge everyone, including medical practitioners, to be on the lookout for anyone with gunshot injuries and promptly inform the nearest police station or call any of our emergency numbers if they come across any. We also use this medium to call on other well-meaning Lagosians not to hesitate in giving us information when they suspect anything amiss around them to enable us act appropriately and swiftly.
Benue State Commander of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) has called for collaboration among stakeholders in the fight against drug abuse and trafficking of illicit and prohibited substances. The State Commander Esther Lamy made the call at command headquarters in Makurdi after its operative arrested the suspect in connection with the whale bill containing 350 grams of cocaine. The highest seizure so far recorded by a single individual during a stop-and-search operation at NDLEA checkpoint in Otukpo. The NDLEA boss who expresses worries over the violent crimes taking place in the cities, towns, communities and villages by young men and women, most of them linked to our drug.
Which is the highest single seizure. If you put the seizures of the past 3 years put together, it's not up to this single seizure, which calls for concern to show that the drug problem is increasing and we have to do something. We cannot sit aloof and allow our youths to become junkies or to become victims of drug abuse and illicit trafficking.
While the state NDLEA following the crime, Comrade Kayode Martins and his engagement with the workforce of the company emphasized that there was no palliative from the federal government to the private sector as being speculated. He urged them to reach out to the leadership of their union to pass across their grievances or probably to the NLC at the state level in subsequent scenario. In his own part, the group manager of Sumal Foods Limited, Akin Akintayo, appreciated the Nigerian Labour Congress for its intervention on the matter. He described the loss of life as a result of the ugly incident as unwarranted and sympathized with the family of the deceased on behalf of the management.
Actually, the management and staff and the union in this place had resolved the matter, but we just observe 1 or 2 things that is missing, especially in family, reaching out to the family of one way or the other to identify with them. So when we came this morning, we first had a meeting with our people. We went directly to the workers in Suma.
All of us were sad about the incidents of the loss of life during the fracas. We have agreed
that we are going to reach out to the family of the deceased. Management is going to reach out to them. We are going to extend our hand of sympathy, and we are going to condole with the family.
Settling persons affected by conflict scheme. Galaxy TV, Bozan Yakuzak sent in this report.
Tudunbiri is a community in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State, which was attacked by a drone in December last year. The Nigerian government promised to compensate owners of lands and rebuild the community following the unfortunate incident that led to the loss of lives and properties in the community.
To this point has been long and arduous. Today, we converge in this historic community to demonstrate our resolve to overcome adversity and build a future where each person and community sees the other as a friend.
Resettlement communities. The land title documents have been perfected by Kaduna State Geographic Information System countries. The state government is working closely with federal security forces to degrade and uproot bandits from their enclaves and restore peace and stability to our troubled communities.
Some members of the community who couldn't hide their joy say they have accepted the unfortunate incident in good faith while appreciating government for fulfilling its promises.
Mostly our people feel good for see our Vice President enter Tudunbiri. So our people, we don't know how to explain our happiness.
So we are called to the federal government and the state government to secure our area, because that bandits up to now they are trying to attack our people.
In his address, the Emir of Birnin Gwari, Alhaji Zubairu Jibril, commended government for keeping its promise. He added that this is a laudable project and must be supported by all Nigerians.
I made a pledge, and we are really happy that this pledge is being fulfilled.
While construction of the road leading to the village from the Kaduna intersection airport, a hospital and a skill acquisition center have reached advanced stages, building of houses and other infrastructures have been flagged off by the Vice President.
Now to other stories. Benue State Ministry of Health says it has recorded 16 suspected cases of cholera disease in the state. The state epidemiologist, Dr. Henry Jabo, stated this, saying 16 suspected cases of cholera was recorded in year 2024 in 3 local government areas of Akatu, Otukpo, and Ado, while stating that out of the 16 suspected cases, 4 deaths have so far been recorded. The state epidemiologist said the Ministry of Health is collaborating with the State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, and other agencies to cover the entire state, which includes the IDP camps across the state. He noted that cholera management is mainly rehydration and that the state government is supporting health facilities with IV fluids, antibiotics, and other requirement for case management, especially in hotspot areas where they are beginning to record suspected cases. Kaduna State Governor Basani has described traditional rulers as a stabilizing force in Kaduna State and the country in general. He also outlines plans for increased military presence and community collaboration in the state. Governor Sani noted that the government at all levels cannot afford to ignore the role of royal fathers, calling for collaboration and good governance and security within their domains. Speaking at a meeting with the State Council of Chiefs, the governor said that his administration is poised to involve citizens in the decision-making process, adding that traditional rulers are critical stakeholders and influencers in this regard and must be accorded attention and respect. Fielding questions from newsmen, the Emir of Zezawu and leader of Traditional Council in the state says there has been improvement in general security of the state.
Has remained a stabilizing force in our communities and in the state as a whole. The traditional institution has shown resilience in the face of modernity because of our closeness to the people, because of their closeness to the people. It is in the interest of governments at all levels
No fewer than 500 indigent residents of Ogun State have benefited from the yearly free medical outreach organized by Pet Project of the First Lady of Ogun State at Joshi Foundation. The medical outreach, in collaboration with some US-based medical specialists, was held at the Olabisi Onabanjo University Teaching Hospital, Shagamu, and at Central Mosque. Speaking to newsmen, wife of the state governor, Bamidele Abiodun, said the medical intervention was to give succor to those who had been scheduled for surgeries but could not afford bills for medical procedures and medications. She reiterated her unwavering commitment with the support of state indigent doctors from the United States to sustain the outreach, saying it was a way of giving back to the society.
It really is to help those that are not able to pay for medical procedures themselves. And as you heard, we have the dentists, we also have the ophthalmologists, we have the surgeons here, we have the OBGYN. I mean, we have all sorts of specialists here. So this is a worthy cause. There's nothing, I mean, it's really gratifying.
Insecurity has been a major challenge in almost every aspect of the Nigerian system, with security chiefs working around the clock in finding a lasting solution. In this report, our correspondent Dele Fason takes a look at the challenges faced in South-South as farmers now resort to farming at home for fear of attack. The report.
Speaking on the attacks by suspected herdsmen, the chairman, Edo North Farmers Association, Alhaji Momodu Abdullahi, and other farmers stress on the dangers of being attacked by armed herdsmen.
They run away from somebody in the bush, they pursue us to the house. They throw them into the farm, but when they saw that there was no route by which they now pass the back residential area. Why they say there is an opening. The government should find the way. They know the best way to stop them. They know what is wrong to stop the government and you have the community leaders. You have the important people. Farm, if the cow comes to somebody, and that's why this government waiting for us.
The farmers chairman advised farmers to imbibe the culture of farming in their rooms as a result of persistent attacks.
We want all the farmers to follow this procedure so that the farm is fair to maintain.
And also create an avenue for farmers to go to farm, because there should be farmer security. If the farmers are safe, they can go to their farm to do their farming duties so that we can have a lot of food in.
Although some farmers in Nigeria are comfortable with their little harvest they get while farming within the comfort of their homes, but will only serve as food for the family, hence the need for the federal government to put proactive measures in place for them to return to their farms. From Edo State, Dele Fason reporting for Galaxy News.
Now we move to the international desk for more news. This is news from the international scene. Sir Keir Starmer has promised to build a government of service after becoming the UK's first Labour Prime Minister since 2010. Speaking outside 10 Downing Street after his party's landslide election win, he pledged to restore trust in politics and navigate a way to calmer waters. And appealing directly to voters who did not back his party, he vowed to put country first and govern unburdened by doctrine. He was cheered into the famous streets by a crowd of supporters who were waving Union Jacks and flags of Scotland and Wales. The Prime Minister and his wife Victoria hugged old friends and colleagues who had lined up to applaud him. Speaking from the lectern, he cautioned that despite Labour's huge parliamentary majority of 174, his aim to rebuild in Britain will take a while. Sir Keir, who asked family replace Tory leader Rishi Sunak after an audience with the King at Buckingham Palace, is expected to begin appointing his new cabinet on Friday afternoon before it meets for the first time on Saturday. A short time earlier, in a farewell speech outside Number 10, Sunak apologized to unsuccessful Tory candidate and told the public, "I have had your anger, your disappointment." He pledged to remain party leader until formal arrangements for selecting his successor are in place. Labour's victory has come largely as a result of a dynamic 20-point drop in Tory support, with the party down 250 seats to 121, a historic low. More than 50 candidates and activists in France have come under physical attack in the run-up to Sunday's 10th final round of parliamentary elections, Interior Minister Gérald Darmanin has said. He revealed the figure after government spokeswoman Prisca Thévenot, a deputy Virginie Lanlot and a party activist were brutally assaulted as they put up election posters in Meudon, southwest of Paris. The motive for the attack is not clear, but Thévenot returned to Meudon on Thursday with Prime Minister Gabriel Attal, who condemned what he called attacks of intolerable cowardice. The spate of assault across France reflects the febrile mood on the final day of campaigning in an election that the far-right National Rally RN is poised to win. Although RN is well ahead in the polls, 217 candidates have dropped out from local run-off race, so another candidate has a better chance of stopping them winning an outright majority in the National Assembly. Darmanin told News Channel that attacks were taking place in a climate in which France was on edge and more than 30 people had been arrested. He said the attackers were either people who had spontaneously become angry or that they were the ultra-left, ultra-right or other political groups. President Joe Biden is facing pressure from some major Democratic donors as he faces a critical few days in his campaign for re-election. A number of donors are publicly warning they will unfold funds unless Biden is replaced as the party's candidate following his disastrous debate performance last week. Friday is a big day for the president as he seeks to shore up his candidacy with a primetime TV interview and a rally in Wisconsin. Pressure on Biden 81 to step aside has grown following a debate marked by several instances where he lost his train of thought. While he admitted that he screwed up that night, he has vowed to stay on as his party standard-bearer, taking on Donald Trump in the November presidential election. Scrutiny on his public appearances has markedly increased since the debate. In a White House speech to military families on Thursday to mark 4 July Independence Day, he stumbled over his words when referring to Trump as one of our colleagues, the former president. And in an interview with WURD Radio in Philadelphia, he lost his thread and appeared to say he was proud to be the first black woman to serve. Still on the international scene, Kenya's President William Ruto has begun a historic public online forum with anti-tax protesters on social media platform X Spaces, saying he is there to listen. His 31-year-old daughter, Shilene Ruto, billed it as the first ever president in the world to hold an online meeting with all Gen Z. This is a reference to the young people behind the recent protests that have rocked up father's presidency. The demonstrations against finance bill was organized via X Spaces, a feature that allows users to host live radio conversation with others on the platform formerly known as Twitter. A section of Kenyans on X has vowed to boycott the president's chat and has plumbed a pile of space to counter the conversation. They argue that Ruto already knows the demands. The president's session started about 45 minutes late, seemingly beset by technical difficulties. The outrage over the proposed tax increases forced President Ruto to say he would withdraw the legislation, which was intended to help reduce Kenya's debt burden of over $80 billion. A state-funded Human Rights Commission estimated that more than 40 people died during the protest. Most on the day the bill was passed by MPs last week. The Interior Ministry says 25 protesters were killed. The demonstrations have since morphed into calls for Ruto's resignation and demands that the security forces face justice over killing of protesters. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has arrived in Moscow to meet President Vladimir Putin for talks on war in Ukraine. The visit has been criticized by EU leaders who have emphasized that Orbán is not acting on behalf of the bloc. Orban is the EU's only head of national government to have kept close ties to the Kremlin following its full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022. He described the trip as a peace mission in a post on X. It comes days after he visited Kyiv. On the first leg, he spent 3 hours with Volodymyr Zelensky in Kyiv on Tuesday, with both parts of the trip carefully choreographed to emphasize Orban as a global statesman rather than a black sheep. As with previous moves by the 61-year-old Hungarian leader, the visit to both capitals is a gamble. In footage of the meeting, Putin said Orban was visiting not just as a long-time partner, but as a European Union representative. Hungary has just taken over the presidency of the Council of the European Union and will hold it to the end of the year. Viktor Orban, speaking in the meeting, said Hungary will slowly become the last European country that can talk to everyone. Lastly, on the international scene, a hurricane which has wreaked havoc across the Caribbean, destroying property and leaving homes without power as it Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula. Hurricane Beryl, classed as Category 2, lashed the region's coastline on Friday morning, endangering the area's 2 million residents and the tourist hotspots of Cancun and Tulum. Beaches are closed and thousands of troops have been deployed to help as the storm hits the country's southeast shoreline. The U.S. National Hurricane Center (NHC) warned people in the area to shelter from the life-threatening conditions the hurricane will bring over the course of the day. Across the Caribbean, at least 10 people are known to have died and more are missing. More roofs have been torn from buildings and thousands of homes were left without power. Emergency measures are being taken across the Yucatan Peninsula, including closing popular tourist beaches. Mexican authorities have taken measures to prepare the coastline for the hurricane. Schools have been closed, hotel windows have been boarded up, and emergency shelters have been set up for locals and tourists in areas facing the brunt of the impact. Residents in Cancun have rushed to supermarkets to stock up on supplies, with some encountering empty shelves on their visits. And that's it from the international scene. Coming your way next, entertainment news.
Welcome to Entertainment News. My name is Riz Blossom Onwe. Here are the stories on the news desk today. Ivy Ifoma, the new wife of award-winning music star and second half of the famous music group P-Square, Paul Okoye, has showed off her baby bump. It was reported in May the news circulated that the model and influencer was expecting the singer's fourth child, as he has 3 kids from his previous marriage to Anita Okoye. Confirming the news, Ivy Ifoma, via her Instagram story, shared a glimpse of a protruding baby bump. The model, who is currently in the US, probably awaiting her child's birth, shared a clip of her listening to YBNL Ginger Maddy's new song with Kiss Daniel, which she heavily promoted. Ivy had panned the camera to show off her baby bump. Street pop artist Portable has opened up about the amount of debt he's in after being duped by top promoters in America. The controversial artist posted a video claiming that he intended to travel to America but was turned down 6 times at the embassy. He claims that he was banned for his poor English skills. Speaking further, he stated that he was paid 3.6 million naira for the event and that many people had purchased tickets but was unable to attend because he was not granted a visa. Further explaining, Portable stated that the performance promoters asked him to pay more than double what he received. They requested him to pay more than 20 million naira, but he had paid 18 million naira so far. Nigerian singer Adekunle Gold has expressed pride in his wife and mother of his daughter Simi following the release of a new album, taking to a page to share the cover of the album Lost and Found. Adekunle revealed that he watched how hard she worked on the project, which he described as incredible. He noted how she produced the first track and mixed the whole album, expressing how proud he is of her. He stated that there is nobody like her. Congratulating her on a new album, he urged his fans to stream it. Very Dark Man's Burn with influencer Ashmusi may have been picked, but he isn't entirely done with her colleagues yet. The self-acclaimed social media activist took to Instagram to issue a PSA to influencers against engaging in fraudulent transactions. He started by saying that he's some form of watchguard against influencers that had intentions to scam clients. Very Dark Man insinuated that Ashmusi's influencers' friends were rallying up against him and trying to tarnish his image. Nevertheless, Very Dark Man has promised to call out any influencer that scams anyone of their hard-earned money. To the general public, Very Dark Man advised against trusting them fully, stating that influencers shouldn't be trusted because they are only looking out for themselves. Very Dark Man said that influencers are paid huge sum to promote fake things that their trusting fans end up losing money to, and they go about their lives like nothing happened. He also said that there's only a few honest influencers in Nigeria that don't scam the masses because they have a good conscience. Finally, notable Nollywood actress Biola Bayo expresses disappointment in a lady, Adenike, for faking her death after appearing on a show to confess her horrific experiences. Adenike had appeared on the Talk Big podcast where she confessed to sleeping with dogs, an experience that emanated from traumatic sexual abuse experiences. Following the confession, Adenike faked her death, stirring an emotional reaction from the actress on a page, accusing trolls of being insensitive with their comment. Now making a U-turn, Biola in a personal Instagram page revealed that a young lady faked her death to avoid backlash, criticism and legal consequences of her action. Biola explained that she knew about this as she noticed some inconsistencies in the stories of her death while mourning her, and further investigation by her and her team into it revealed that she was alive. The discovery had led Biola to petition the Nigerian police force, and the lady and a friend who announced her death were arrested. In a recent development, Biola Bayo petitioned the lady for fooling her and her audience while questioning her reasons for embarking on such an act. Adenike revealed that she did so out of shame after being identified by families and friends who recognized her voice. And that'll be all on entertainment news. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Rose Blossom Moye. Bye for now.